Let's hear from Frank Vogel, speaking with Mike Trudell and the media on Zoom.
Hey, Frank, what did you think happened tonight?
We got outplayed in the second half. Simplest way to put it. We didn't defend at the rate that we've been the last few games, or that we did in the first half. They downsized with the second unit, gave us some problems. And then offensively, we got hesitant, tried to overpass a few different times, and we didn't have a great offensive fourth quarter to try to close things out.
Just that final sequence there after you get the rebound, what was your thinking? And sometimes, of course, you get a good shot if you go down and don't call the timeout, but how did that play evolve, and what were you seeing before you finally got one?
Yeah, we had a chance to attack in transition before their defense was set. We wanted to look at that. When it was clear that we weren't going to get a great look in transition, we called a timeout. And, we got a decent look with Bron, coming up to gut.
Dave?
Frank, you were teed up for your reaction to Schroeder getting pushed to the ground, or taking contact and falling to the ground. And then there was that sequence where LeBron was called for a travel, and then Draymond scored in the lane, and some of the guys were called for a travel. How much do you think the officiating affected tonight's outcome?
I don't have anything to say about the officiating.
Dan?
Frank, how did you feel about kind of just the overall late game organization? It seemed like you guys had a little of a hard time to kind of get in and out of stuff.
We got hesitant, and that's an area. It's an early game in the season that you watch that, and it's an opportunity to learn from it. Like I said, we just got hesitant on the offensive end, a little casual. I'd say it's at certain points in the game. Which you can't do with a lead against a team like that has great firepower. And, their pressure was decent. I thought most offensive possessions we were organized, but, like I said, we either hesitant or overpassed, and, had a lot of lost possessions in the fourth.
Kyle?
Frank, obviously, you guys are on the winning streak. Your last 4 games have been blowouts. Do you feel like, perhaps you can maybe take a little complacency from that, and that might have contributed to what happened today?
No, I think if we came out sluggish, you could say that. I thought we came out with great energy, built up a big early lead. We just didn't sustain it. Just one of those lessons that we can learn from.
Last 2. Bill?
Kyle kind of asked my question, but I guess could you speak a little bit more about the lesson of complacency and taking your foot off the gas, and how can you apply that in a season when you are going to have a target on your back the rest of the way?
Well, yeah, it's a 48-minute game. Our guys understand that, and sometimes if you do it and you don't take a loss, you don't learn a lesson. So, hopefully our guys will learn that lesson from this game. It wasn't all complacency. I mean, you credit the Warriors. We didn't handle, what we felt were some bad calls. We let it distract our focus some. And, like I said, offensively, look, we've been really passing the ball well and trusting the pass. And there was a few possessions. We had great possessions where the guy didn't take the shot because he was thinking one more. So, those are good problems. And, we'll go to the tape and correct it.
Jovan?
Hey, Frank, you mentioned that yesterday you guys spent a lot of time going over the intricacies of defending Steph. How did you feel you did in that regard tonight, and maybe breaking it down first half or second half?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll have to look at the tape. He's got the ball the whole game, so there was plenty of good defensive possessions, plenty where we had breakdowns, either sending them to the screen or protecting the rim when we took the ball out of his hands. But overall, we just didn't contain the ball like we're capable of. We turned the ball over too much offensively, which let them get out and transition some. And
sugarcoat it. Embarrassing loss for the Lakers, losing huge leads, not putting a Warrior team away when you had ample opportunities. And you can get away with that some nights, but it's going to come bite you many times in the NBA, and it did tonight, James.
Yeah, it bit him tonight. They went against a team that, was absent, Klay Thompson, a young team, a scrappy team. I was very impressed with what Steve Kerr has done with this team. He got them motivated to play. But yeah, the Lakers, when you have a chance to put it away and you don't, and I think what's happened over this span of wins, they've, been used to playing a little bit slow and then turn on, and they've taken care of business. But tonight, it just seemed like they were just flat. It seemed like they just couldn't respond to what Golden State was doing to them, not getting good shot opportunity, not connected defensively like they normally are. And so, yeah, it was a lackluster kind of a performance, particularly in the fourth quarter.
What if I come to you before the pregame show and said, hey, by the way, Allie, Steph Curry's only going to go 3 for 12.
I would have stopped you there.
Steph Curry's going to only go 3 for 12 from 3. The Lakers will lead by 19 in the first quarter, but they're going to lose the game.
I think it's what's
I'm
so
crazy?
kind of, yeah.
And the bench will play great.
Yeah. I think that's probably what's so mind-boggling, because after starting out the way they did and were able to manage that 19-point lead in the first, you would have thought things were going towards the Lakers' way for the night. But I think what you also learn is what we've continued to preach. It's what they know inside that locker room is that they are the defending champs. And every single night, you are going to get your opponent's best shot. And also with that comes players who may outplay themselves. I mean, Kelly Oubre is averaging 11 points this season. We're talking about how he can't even throw it to the ocean. He has 23.
23.
His season high. Pascal off the bench. Ties his season high, 19. I mean, guys are just playing out of their minds.
So Andrew Miller, our graphics producer, he's a Bay Area guy. He's a huge Warrior fan. We told him to build a fourth quarter collapse full screen, and he did. And I think he did it with a smile on his face because it was a collapse. Colossal collapse. The Warriors outscored the Lakers 34-21. Field goals were 14 of 23, 6 of 19. Lakers an embarrassing 1 for 9 from 3. But here's some other ones, James. They were up 9 with 5 minutes left in this game. They didn't score for over 4 minutes after that. They had 4 turnovers in the final few minutes. Warriors went on an 11-0 run. I mean, pick which one's the worst. I don't know. Lakers didn't deserve it.
All of the above, Dieter. And, it's something when you're used to winning. Like I said, the Lakers defense has been, pretty good, and they're used to winning. And I think you have to be aware of that internal clock. It says, okay, we'll be able to turn it on. But what happens is Golden State has an internal clock, too, and they turned it on as well. They weren't going to be denied. And so they just couldn't turn it on. I think they turned it off somewhere. They had a 19-point lead and never was able to get back in the ball game. They couldn't just turn the switch on and get defense going, layups, the bench players for Golden State out-hustled. It's things that we normally don't see. We saw in the fourth quarter in particular.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Warriors team, minus Klay, as we mentioned. Draymond's getting back, Steph's getting back. It's a young team. They outscored the Lakers 67-49. Here's the thing, Allie. The Lakers are not going to be perfect. Right. I know we want them to be every single night, but the Warriors played harder tonight.
Yeah.
67-49 in the second half.
Coming in, Steve Kerr made a point that they're just not in sync right now offensively. I think they turned the corner of it tonight because I think at the end of the day, you mentioned how different the Warriors are to what we're so accustomed to seeing. But their system, their style of play, and who they are going to be and want to be about, because you still have that guy, that dominant force in Steph Curry running the show, they're still going to pass the ball. They're going to move that basketball offensively, and they're going to get after it on the defensive end of the floor. And when you put that all together and you continue to stick with that, good things will happen tonight. That's what happened for the Warriors.
Yeah, and Frank said it. He said it early in this game when he said it to the team and when he was interviewed, like, you can't let this team hang around because of that guy. And sure, Steph was 2 for 11 at the time, but he hits the big 3 with a minute left, put them up 5. Kelly Oubre, they had an interesting conversation about him. Reggie was saying, listen, he, social media, fans around the NBA, he was supposed to be that guy to kind of fill the role. Klay tore his Achilles, and he has really had an up-and-down, rough season. Well, tonight came to play. 23 points, 9 of 18, James.
Well, they didn't take care of him early. He sit in that corner and just got busy. That's where he was, down in that deep corner. And, like Allie said, he did it everywhere. And the way they moved the ball, they're going to make the defense give him something. And, you know, he's just under control, attacking the Lakers defense, and, you know, they just never met his energy. So a guy who's been cold and hadn't been going his way, you always have to be aware of him. And, you know, Allie mentioned early, too. They are the defending